You are now tuned in to Podcast of the Paranormal.
Hello, everybody. It's Gabrielle and Jody here.
Hello.
We have a special episode for you. We are going to talk about...
Another special episode?
Well, I think they're all special, right?
To you, maybe.
Whatever. So, on this episode, we're going to talk about some research that we've been doing. We've brought it up in a few episodes now, so we wanted to give kind of a more in-depth explanation into what we're working on behind the scenes for everyone.
Well, let's talk about research.
Okay.
Because I love when you bring this word up. You're like,
oh my God, you're so annoying.
Doing research, and what does that entail for you?
So for me, it entails actual research. So we're looking into articles that have been written that are kind of in the field of the topic that we are exploring with our experiments. So we're looking for things that are similar or things that kind of like support what we're exploring. People who have done similar, experiments, had similar ideas, different things like that, looking at research that's been published, that's been peer-reviewed, and then kind of putting that all together in a way to kind of explain where we're going, where we're coming from with our research.
So a lot of reading.
Yeah, a lot of reading. Yeah, and then I think, okay, I have enough articles, and then I find another idea, and I'm like, oh, and I start looking at that, and then there's more articles that I'm reading. So just when I think I'm done, I start all over. Yeah.
So how much are we going to say here?
I don't know. Well, let's just introduce it here. So for me, I have probably since like elementary school really been interested in the Salem witch trials.
Mm-hmm.
And
here we go again. Got to fit it in.
When I was in high school, my parents brought us to Salem for the first time. And it just kind of like really fueled my interest. And really since then, I've been, Jody hates when I say it, but I've been researching the trials, like just devouring anything that I can about them, understanding everything about that little specific bubble in time, what was happening in Salem, everything. So then that led me to discover biphasic sleep. So back at the period of the Salem trials...
I'm just going to stop you right there. We can be talking about our favorite flavors of ice cream, right? And I'll be like, oh, I like, anything with coconut in it. And Gab's like, Cotton Mather had a cow. She will tie this subject into any conversation.
Yeah.
Any. Right? We could be out with friends, like out at a bar or something like that. And you're like, so, did you know how Cotton Mather got killed? How he was executed? He was pressed to death.
That wasn't Cotton Mather.
Oh, God damn it. Fail.
That was Giles Corey.
Giles Corey. There we go.
And it's actually a French word. I forget what it's called.
It's a pressing with the stones, right?
Yeah.
They'd use like a door.
Yeah, it's a French torture technique they used. I forget what it's called. It's going to drive me crazy now. Thanks.
See what I did? Gotcha.
So one day I stumble upon biphasic sleep, which is something they were engaging in at the time because they didn't have artificial light. Candle wax was really expensive. So what they were doing is when the sun would go down, when it would get dark, they would kind of wind down for the day, go to sleep a few hours, usually wake up for about 1 or 2 hours, and then go back to sleep for a few hours.
No, it's safe to say that at that period of history, they didn't have the normal, like shift work, the 9 to 5, right?
Right. That wasn't a thing yet at this time.
Right.
So people would wake up during this middle of the night period, and anywhere from like midnight to 2 a.m. people were waking up for an hour or two. Some people were engaging in like prayer. Some people were completing some household chores they might have to get ready for the next day. Some people were socializing. So they were going out like with other neighbors.
That's wild to me. You just meet up at like 2 a.m. every night.
Right. So I think this is something I always think in my head. When the Fox sisters invented spiritualism and their house, and the mother was bringing the neighbors to hear the spirits, I always imagined that it was taking place during that period where they were waking up in the middle of the night. That people were coming over in the middle of the night during their like wakeful period and listening to these spirits. And I could be wrong, but that's just the way I imagine it happening. During their, 1 to 2 hours, they were coming, socializing.
I mean, that's not even the same time period, though.
Well,
right?
no, but see, they kind of are at this period where they overlap with the Industrial Revolution, which is when we kind of stopped sleeping in this way. And we began to have artificial light. We began to work all day and all night. Factories were coming up, so people were able to work in factories, around the clock.
That's the 9 to 5. That's the schedule that everybody's used to in the modern world.
Yeah. So I always think about that. So that gets me into that. And then I find this book, I stumble on this book, and that book was really interesting. It talked about how it was almost like connecting the dark to religion, which was really interesting, and how, when you re-engage with the darkness, you're kind of bringing back different primary functions of your body that were happening during the night that we don't have happening anymore, physiologically, because we're using so much artificial light. So they were basically saying, if you're engaging in longer periods of darkness, things like your prolactin is going to raise. So
is it just engaging in long periods of darkness, by basically spending more time in the dark? You're sort of...
Well, think about it, right? When the sun goes down, you don't have artificial light.
Right.
So you're in darkness. So from, sometimes 4 o'clock p.m., sometimes 8 o'clock p.m., you no longer have light.
Yeah, it depends on the time of year.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're going to sleep. You're sleeping for maybe 4 hours. You're waking up for an hour or two. And then you're going back to sleep for another 4 hours.
And these people are just rolling with it. As the sun is getting, farther from the planet and all that. And you have the different seasons and you get, less light throughout the winter and then more light throughout the summer. They're just sort of rolling with it. They're living with the natural light cycle.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of guiding their lives in a way because, again, the wax to burn candles at night was expensive. So they couldn't really burn a candle for 3 to 4 hours at night or multiple candles to do things. So they would just kind of adapt with the darkness and go to sleep.
Whereas we're forcing ourselves to basically stay awake till a certain point, sleeping for 8 hours through, and then waking up at a certain time in the morning.
To an alarm clock.
They're kind of just all right, the sun's down. It's time to wind down.
Theirs is more natural sleep pattern.
Yeah, the sun's up, wake up with the sun, whenever that is at the time of year. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's we go to bed because it's dark, we sleep, we wake up, we do a couple things, we go back to sleep, we wake up, we go about our chores for the day, our job for the day, Yeah, so it's a lot different than the way that we live our lives. So I get into the book, and the book made an idea come to me.
It spawned a light bulb.
A hypothesis. So then I involved Jody in my idea. And so the official hypothesis that we have is, so we're using a qualitative study to explore whether re-engaging with natural cycles of darkness can facilitate the reemergence of latent psychic abilities, which may have diminished due to the pervasive influence of modern society and its relevance on artificial light. So we've been kind of exploring that for about 8 months now.
Well,
it's about 6 months. We plan on exploring it through different experiments for about another 2 months.
We had a really hefty test run there for a month, if you recall. Yeah, we went every single night for a month straight.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
I did find myself going to bed earlier at night, though.
Yeah, it was nice.
And I was able to wake up.
Yeah.
Easier in the morning.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Yeah.
Strangely enough, we were exhausted.
We were. But so then what we would do is we would go to sleep it started, like Jody said, every day for a month. We started in October, ironically. And every day we would go to bed earlier. We were going to bed around 8 o'clock at night. We were going completely dark and trying to fall asleep by 9. We would sleep for about 4 hours. We would wake up for an hour, sometimes more, sometimes 2 hours, and then we would sleep for another 4 hours. And we had to keep in mind the time that I would have to get up in the morning because I was the one who gets up earlier.
And I work from home, so it's not a real job, right?
No, it is a real job. I'm just saying you get up late, like your job starts later.
No, I know.
Than mine. So I have to get up earlier to get ready to then drive to work.
Yeah.
So we had to keep that in mind. So that's kind of where we got our like start time to start winding down for the night. So we would go full dark, no light in the room. The only thing that we would do is during our wakeful period.
We talked about using candles.
Mm-hmm. But we didn't think it was going to be safe.
So we had a little bit of a compromise with that.
Yeah, so we used like artificial candles, like LED candles. Yeah, so we had a little bit of light. But then towards the end, like now, I don't even use the candles.
Right.
I just sit in the dark. I don't mind it.
I don't mind it because a lot of the times I'll have a blindfold on, so it doesn't matter.
But for me, it was
things.
like, it's also helped me get used to the dark and accustomed to the dark because I was afraid of the dark. But now, I mean, at least in our bedroom, I'm okay to be in the dark. But if I was out of the house, I'd probably be more afraid just because I'm not familiar with like that space, you know? But in our room, I'm comfortable in the dark now. Basically, we're waking up and we're doing different types of paranormal experiments to see if we are able to connect with any spirits. We were doing things like we were bringing in different spiritualist practices, different modern practices, different types of equipment we were utilizing just to see if there was anything that we would be able to connect with by engaging in more time in the dark. And we've moved so we spent an entire month doing it once a day. And then we moved into, after that month, we kind of took like a little bit of a break because we were exhausted. And then we moved into doing like twice a week. We would wake up, like Fridays and Saturdays, we would wake up and do the experiments. And now I think we're down to once a week.
Yeah, once a week.
Yeah. And then we plan to, in June, for our anniversary, we plan to go to like a dark skies park and spend the night and try to do some experiments there.
Ooh, we got to get some camping equipment then, huh?
No, you can camp in your car.
Well, that's not going to be comfortable at all.
I think it'd be more comfortable than a tent.
You think?
Yeah. You
Really?
could bring the van.
Oh, that's true. We could bring the van.
So for me, I love research. So if I get the chance to kind of like really dig my hands into different articles, literature review, like that makes me happy. So then I was kind of able to bridge that gap by bringing, my passion for research into my love for the paranormal. And it's just kind of really been something that I'm really enjoying, being able to combine the two. So we kind of started at like how these sleep cycles affect our body and how losing that due to the Industrial Revolution has caused us to lose the connection to something that we're not even aware that we lost, right? We don't know it's gone because we're so far from when this Industrial Revolution began that we don't even know what we've lost. And then I started to focus on, our prolonged exposure to artificial light. And then I started to explore how paranormal phenomena affects our sleep. And then we started our research experiments. Mm-hmm. Now, we have an advantage because we are married. So we live together. We're able to coordinate our schedules really easily. We don't have to like plan to be together on a certain date and time. We just are. So that was when we started doing the experiments. And then that was when we had the biggest breakthrough that we've had through this. We connected to something that we lost, which was just quite recently too. But it opened up like a whole new path for investigation for us. And that's kind of like around the time where you'll start to see us talking about different perspectives and theories within the paranormal field, where we're getting like a little bit more scientific and more kind of like into the weeds than most people are, where they're just exploring that entertainment aspect. But we really feel like we've kind of unlocked something that was hidden.
I mean, I think we should mention that we're not, we aren't scientists. We aren't, we're kind of doing this on our own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, this isn't something that's like peer reviewed.
No.
No, there's no funding for this. This is just something that we're doing and taking advantage of the fact that we're a married couple and, able to do these things.
It's a neat little experiment.
Yeah, it's fun. So it's opened up that whole new path for us. And, we're not just passive observers with the paranormal. We're not just, snapping a photo of ghosts or recording EVPs. Like, we are part of the phenomena. We are like an essential component to these experiences.
We're trying to dig in a little bit and figure out why things work the way they work.
Yeah.
Why people experience what they experience and, how, I guess, our minds work and all this, right?
Yeah.
Our bodies and our circadian rhythms and...
Yeah. And it definitely plays into it. Like they've even found with different animals that even them being exposed to artificial light, because now, we have all these cities everywhere that they're being exposed to artificial light at night and how it's affecting them. And there's actually...
Oh, lightning bugs. Lightning bugs are affected now, right? Because they get confused with the artificial light and they're unable to find each other to mate. So we might be the last generation that actually gets to witness the lightning bug.
Yeah. And I forget actually, I don't know what kind of bug it was now that you brought that up. But in one of the other books I read, it said, you'd be surprised how many books exist about the effects of artificial lighting on the human body and animals. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting topic. Even when you remove the paranormal, it's an interesting topic. So there is actually a genus of bugs, and they are actually like starting to not mate because they're just so obsessed with the lights at night. So instead of going out to look for mates, they're just like obsessed with the light. And then it's time for them to go to sleep. And then they're not really mating. They're not.
Well, they have such a short lifespan.
Yes.
Bugs in general that if they're distracted by something else, then.
Yeah. So they're losing kind of like their purpose in life.
Yeah, it sounds very similar to the lightning bug issue.
I know. It sounds very similar to people in general. Like our purpose in life has kind of become our careers and our jobs.
Yeah.
We're waking up every day to an alarm clock. We're not engaging in those natural like circadian rhythms. We're using...
Sounds like we're being conditioned. That's a whole other rabbit hole.
In a way, I mean, I'm sure we are, right? We're conditioned to be...
It's the industrial complex.
Yeah, to be like members of this society.
Yep.
Yeah. Instead of the old ways that people might have made their living on their own, where they were their own employer. Maybe they were farmers or creators of some type of tools or means that people needed. And we don't have that anymore. So we're not going to spoil everything that we found, but I do plan to write a book about it, pretty much going into like depth on the research and the experiments, our methods, things that we found, all that fun stuff that everybody loves. But
is there anything in general you want to talk about as far as the experiments go that you want to put out there?
I mean, we could share some stuff from our journals and, some theories that we've had that have gotten us kind of to this point where we've completely changed our perspective on this field. I
mean, I wouldn't say completely. I mean, the investigation stuff is we still very much do that. You know what I mean? That's not going away.
Yeah, but I don't think we do it the same way.
No, we have a different, we have a different mindset now for sure.
Yeah. Like we're not going in like, these spirits are here because of X, Y, and Z. I think we have more of a, like, this might be a thought form kind of approach potentially. Like, have people created thought forms here? Have they made egregores? Some people might call them tulpas.
Yeah, so basically what Gab's saying is that the more people go to specific locations and investigate, they're focusing all of that energy, they're focusing all their thoughts on very specific spiritual activity. And from the people that are doing this over and over and over again, they're actually kind of creating something.
Yeah.
So it's almost like bringing to life these entities, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what we're interacting with. Are we interacting with people's, really consolidated energies in those locations? Or, I hate to even say this, but a lot of the times I don't believe we're communicating with people that have passed on.
Yeah. I mean, you might sometimes.
Sometimes.
But that's like, few and far between.
But with some of our methods of investigation, you go into these places and you're expecting one thing and you get something completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what led us down that route.
Yeah. And then you have to also look at it from like the perspective of sometimes you're going into these places and you're being told what spirits you need to be looking for there instead of just being able to, see for yourself and come to that conclusion on your own. Like you're being told what's there and then you're using that as your framework for an investigation.
This goes back to what I've always been saying. And
Right.
I've been saying this for a while now. I don't like going into investigations knowing the history because I
Right.
feel like I don't want those stories that are told to influence my mind and,
Right.
sort of taint the waters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, you can't always avoid it. Like we've been at places where you're getting the history tour no matter what.
Well, I like going into a place with knowledge.
Yeah.
Because then that helps me kind of like tailor my investigation to the history of a place. Like I'm going to go to, like we're going to Penhurst in a couple weeks, and I'm going to go into that differently than, I go into any other location. And I have to know the history of that place to be able to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to do a disservice to any spirit that might still be lingering there.
Yeah, I think it helps too. Like, especially when we're doing like Estes sessions and I'm the one that's sitting under the headphones. I think that helps you a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Knowing the history and sort of tying all that together. So if you're getting some stuff that's coming through that's like relevant.
Yeah.
You could sort of lean into that a little bit and see where it goes.
Like when we were at the Jenny Wade house and we started to get things that we didn't even know about and the tour guide was telling us like, hey, that's connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did an experiment where we used, I don't know what they're called, like the cards that we used.
Oh, what are they? I hate to even bring this up, but y'all have seen Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
The first one with Peter Venkman at the beginning holding the flashcards up. And the other person had to guess, and if they got it wrong, they would get buzzed.
Yeah.
Electrocuted, whatever. Oh, what do they call those cards?
I don't know. I want to call them like ESP cards. Like they linked back, did they link back to MK Ultra? Do they?
I want to say, is it the Zener cards? No, the Zener cards. That's it. Yeah, it's an ESP deck.
Okay, yeah.
They use them to test ESP.
Yeah.
So it's a 25 card deck with like 5 different shapes, right? Wavy lines, a star, a plus sign, a square, a circle.
And there's a heart.
I think some of them have a heart. I don't know. I don't think the original deck had a heart.
No.
I mean, it's possible.
You're right.
I don't think
they
it
made
did.
up the heart.
Yeah, it was 5 different cards. Star, plus, square, circle, and wavy lines.
I call the wavy lines bacon.
The bacon card, yeah. That's the bacon card, so it looks like, yeah. But we took it a little further. So we had blank cards, and we were like, all right, well, let's make our own. Why not, right?
Yeah.
And I think, first of all, I think it's really interesting when you make your own stuff for doing like the weird paranormal stuff. It's really cool. It's personal, right?
You're putting your own energy into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we took it one step further and we had the 5 shapes, but we did, was it 4 colors?
5 colors.
Was it 5?
Yeah. We had 20.
Red, green, blue, yellow, and black. Right? So now
so we had 25.
Yeah, exactly. So now instead of, like for a 25 card deck, you could have 5 stars, 5 bacon, whatever. Bacon. We'll use that for now on. Now it's separated into colors, right? So you had a color for each one.
Yeah. So you had a color and a shape.
Yeah, we used that a little bit.
Yeah, and we had used it in a few ways.
Yeah.
The first time we just kind of tried to guess.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just close your eyes, lay here. Hey, I pulled a card, what is it?
Yeah.
I pulled a card, what is it? And we would keep track of like what we were guessing. I think we did that, 3 times each?
Yeah.
And then we switched to, okay, now let's try this where you're wearing, like you're basically doing an Estes session where you're wearing those noise reduction headphones.
I mean, I wouldn't even call it an Estes session because the Estes is something completely different, right? The person going in with the headphones and the blindfold their purpose is just to repeat what they're hearing.
Right.
So we were kind of like, I don't want to say modifying it, but we were feeding in to that person. We blindfolded them and fed in a spirit box.
Right.
So you have that sensory deprivation plus the constant, sweeping of channels that kind of like, tends to put us in a different mode.
Yeah, we were using that almost as a way to get into like a meditative or trance state.
Yeah. And then the other person would be pulling the cards.
Yeah.
Just to see what happened, right?
Yeah. That was interesting.
And we got some interesting results.
Yeah. We did. We were guessing a lot.
Well, you
correctly.
Specifically.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And you're normally terrible at like the Estes method. And again,
so
like
bad.
I'm saying, this is not like we're using the Estes method because that methodology is completely different. We were kind of poking around.
Just to have like the white noise to kind of, like now you're separated from that other person.
Yes.
You know, but can you still pick out the cards?
Yeah.
Yeah. And surprisingly, we were able to.
Don't say we. I was able to get, and we probably didn't do this extensively enough.
Right. We only did it once.
No, it was more than once, I think.
No, I think we only did it the one night.
Yeah. So we got to jump back into that and do that again. But I was able to pick, I believe, the shape or the color half the time. And you did one pull. We did 3 cards. And you got the shape and the color for 2 of those cards.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
So that was pretty wild, yeah.
It was pretty cool. It was fun. We should do it again. We haven't done, though, the one thing that I really want to do.
What's that?
I want to try a seance. I mean, if you think about it, we've done the Estes a few times, which is like an electronic, mediumship. But I'd really like to do just like a full-on seance.
Well, I think you got some reading to do then.
I've already read enough.
Well, you have your book on seances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
I think the hardest part is like conducting these experiments in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
That you could repeat the experiment and actually like collect and put the data together.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part because that month that we were doing that every night.
Yeah, we were journaling.
Yeah. That was our data collection. But that was kind of like, I feel like that was a soft run.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So what are your thoughts? Is this something we have to do every night or are you happy with, once a week, twice a week?
I feel like I would love to have it be something that we could commit to like over a 90-day period.
Yeah, for data collection specifically. Yeah.
And pick like so many like methods that we're going to utilize and then, whether we rotate them or, for this week, we're going to do this. And then next week, we're going to try automatic writing and, different things like that. Or do we just kind of do whatever feels right that night? Like, that's kind of what we're doing now. Like, I'm like, you know what, tonight, let's do this.
Yeah.
Tonight, let's try this tonight, Yeah.
And there's 2 components to this too, right? There's the psychic component.
Yeah.
Where you want to test, our psychic abilities. Yeah. And then the other component is communication.
Yeah.
Which we use a lot of ITC and...
Yeah, there was the night, what was it? Like a meteor shower, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was over like 2 or 3 nights. And those nights, it was kind of warm enough that we were going out on our deck and we were doing our experiments out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, I think, when we started to get up.
Up came up a lot.
Yeah, and space. I think that was the first time it really started talking about that.
Yeah, I feel like our Estes sessions really changed.
Yeah.
Around the time we were doing that?
Yeah, it really has.
And it's really around the time that we started putting together that like these sessions, depending on the location, really are very different.
They are.
Between the location.
They are. And I think, too, a lot of the things that have to do with the location is, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it, is that, if we're in a location with multiple people and there's multiple people trying to participate in the Estes session, then it's kind of like muddying the waters.
Oh, yeah. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what we try to do now is very specifically a 2-person session.
Yeah.
So you have the one person that's under, right, the receiver, and the one person that's the questioner.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is an observer.
Right. We sometimes have like that third person takes notes.
Which is fine. Yeah. That third person will take
keeps
notes.
Keeps you on track.
Maybe they know something about the history of the place. Hey, you should ask this because, it gets really chaotic when you have
multiple people.
4 or 5 people asking questions and one person other, right?
Yeah. And especially like if we're in this and Jody is the receiver, I'll ask a question and I could wait like 25 seconds. I'll wait for an answer. Mm-hmm. Other people don't. They just want, want that communication. They're like, it's more fast paced for them. But I'm okay waiting.
This specifically goes back to our Estes method episode, right?
Yeah.
Where we specifically brought this up. 2 people, that's it. We try to keep it really tight. And that's why we're bringing it up. At that point, we had already done, the experiment.
Yeah. And we had learned that if it's just the 2 of us, it really lets you lock in.
Right.
Yeah, like you're able to have more of a conversation.
Which I think is great because then you're learning things about these processes that we're using to do all this weird shit, right?
Yeah.
You're learning, hey, this works better if you do this. This works better if you do that. Even when we're in outdoor locations too.
Yeah.
We're finding that the less chaotic it is.
Yeah.
The better results we're getting.
Yeah, that's true. The more you're able to just kind of like focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's even been the last time we did an Estes, I fell asleep for a few minutes. We were out late, and instead of going to sleep and waking up, we just did the Estes before we went to sleep. Because we're also kind of trying that, right? We're doing some in the morning, we're doing some in the middle of the day, we're doing some before we go to sleep.
I think that was out of pure necessity because we were exhausted at that point.
And I was like, if we don't do it now, we're not going to wake up in like 2 or 3 hours. So let's do it now.
Yeah.
And use this kind of, as like a little bit of a variable here.
No, you're worried about me because sometimes I sleep like a rock and there's nothing that's going to wake me up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the people breaking into the house every other night. She'll hear Gabrielle hear a noise and she'll get pissed off at me because I won't wake up. I won't hear it.
Yeah.
And she's always telling me, what do you always tell me?
I don't know.
You're the man of the house. You gotta make sure we're safe.
You should. It should be your concern.
Sometimes I'm just really tired.
You can't sleep on your duties, So that's kind of where we are with this right now. Jody and I, Jody has kind of been out of the research side and more in the experimental side. So do you have any questions, Jody?
Well, I do a lot of editing.
Right.
And my job is very, very demanding. So I am happy to have Gabrielle do the research. She is able to pull it all together really nicely. And I just review her notes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to participate. I'm a willing participant. I think where we're going with this is, I think it's unique.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And it's a fun little experiment, Let's just see what happens if we're waking ourselves up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I think that's a really neat thing to touch on, too. You're breaking your sleep schedule, basically.
Yeah.
So you're me personally, the first few hours of sleep for me are like deep sleep. So if I go to bed at like 10 o'clock at night, probably till like 2, 3 in the morning, I'm dead. I'm out. And then that first time I wake up around 2:30, 3 o'clock, I'm a light sleeper after that.
Really? That's funny because research actually shows it's the opposite.
Not for me.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, when you're waking up in that wakeful rest period, you're still kind of pretty tired and you're not really fully awake. So you're kind of almost in, a liminal space where you're between wake and you're between sleep.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's interesting to me. Because when we were doing the experiment, I found the opposite of my normal sleep rhythm.
Yeah.
I was interrupting it for that hour or 2 at night when we were waking up.
Yeah.
So then I was able to fall asleep for that second sleep.
Yeah.
And a lot less disturbed, I guess, is what I mean by that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Plus, you're interrupting your normal brain waves and your sleep cycle.
Yeah, your normal routine or pattern.
I remember being in college, and if I had to write a paper, a lot of the times I'd fall asleep, early at night, 8, 9 o'clock at night, and then wake up 1, 2 in the morning. If I had a thought on my mind, I would just immediately, all right, I got to put this in the paper. I got to put this in my project,
Yeah.
And ever since, that's basically how I am. I'm a sleep thinker.
Yeah.
That's how I solve problems. I solve problems in my sleep. I do it for work. I do it for, just anything I'm interested in general.
Yeah, you do.
So it's really interesting. I think this is going to work well for the way my brain works.
I think the other interesting thing, too, that we didn't note is that when we first tried this in October and we were doing this every night, we weren't having dreams.
No, not so much.
No, like they were just gone.
If I would dream, I was dreaming less for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was dreaming, though, it was more on that second sleep.
I'm pretty sure that the research says that you would remember your dreams from your second sleep more than the dreams from the first.
Well, that makes sense for me, too, because I know that when I wake up, when I have dreams that actually wake me up,
yeah,
it's usually in the second half of my night's sleep.
There was actually, I forget who it was, like a scientist who would go to sleep and he would use a candle and he would put a nail in the candle. And when the nail would fall, it would wake him up. And then he would like note his dreams.
Oh, that's like the Edison thing.
Was it Edison?
No, it wasn't the candle with him. What did he do? He had a spoon or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this with Don. When the spoon would fall, it would wake him up, and then he'd immediately write down his like first thoughts, whatever he was thinking at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. But yeah, that was actually a pretty common method they used at the time. They would use something in a candle, and they would know how long it would take to burn down to that depth. And then they would put the candle there, and it would wake them up. Like an alarm clock.
You got to use what you got, I guess, huh?
Yeah, you really do.
A lot easier for us now. We can just set an alarm on our phone.
Right. And as long as, my phone lately has been changing my volume settings for like ringers and alerts. So sometimes it's like really low and I don't hear it.
Is that user error?
No, it literally changes it. And then I have to go in and change it.
Oh, it's probably like some adaptive. Yeah. It's learning what you're...
kind of, I don't know what it is, if it's like an update thing or not, but...
God, the AI keyboards now that predict what you're writing, or typing, I should say. I friggin' hate those, man.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if it's like some kind of AI adaptive learning function or whatever built into the phone. Well, that's super annoying.
It is. It happened to me, I think it happened to me this week a day. And I got up like half an hour late.
Ugh.
I woke up and the alarm was like, ring, 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 ring. And I'm like, who's getting up to that? Not me.
So where do you see us going with this then?
To the Dark Skies Park in June.
Well, we know that. This is my annual birthday trip.
No, our anniversary trip. I thought it would be fun.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, a way to, maybe we end it here, maybe we don't. Maybe we keep going. Because that'll put us at 8 months in this experiment. We're already at 6.
Yeah, like I said, I think we have to dig in again. We have to really get into it and repeat what we did in October, maybe on a larger scale, and really record everything.
Maybe we could use the Dark Skies Park as the start of that.
Oh,
the start of that 3-month, 90-day period where this is what we're doing every night.
Yeah, my busiest time at work. Let's go.
Well, I think, wasn't it in October during a busy time too?
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, it was hard because there were nights you would be working late and I would be like, you need to come to bed right now.
Oh, my God. And then you were getting mad at me.
Yeah.
If I'd sleep in a little longer in the morning. She's jealous.
It was difficult for sure. There were benefits, but there were also, drawbacks to it as well. It was tough to try to maintain a 40-hour work week and try to sleep in this, antiquated sleep schedule.
Going back to your question, if I have anything to add to this, I just keep going back to the interrupted sleep cycle.
Yeah.
I just equate that to when you're doing an Estes session. I mean, you're sort of doing the same thing. You're conscious, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you put those headphones on and the blindfold, you're sort of facilitating a state change, right?
Yeah.
In your mind. You're trying to get into that hypnagogic state, right? Is it hypnagogic or hypnopompic?
I don't
One's
remember.
when you're going to sleep, one's when you're waking up, whatever. But you're sort of changing the way your brain is working, your brain waves are changing. You're becoming, less aware of what's going on around you. And you're sort of just focusing on that radio chatter in the background. And
yeah,
you're getting in that meditative state. So I think it's really interesting when we're doing this 2 sleeps at night. You're interrupting the first sleep, which is pulling you out of one state. Now you're completely conscious. And then you're going back in when you're done. I just think it's changes of consciousness. And I think that's where I'm really getting interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting experiment.
I just looked it up. So hypnagogic hallucination is when you're falling asleep, whereas hypnopompic hallucination, it occurs upon waking. But more of still in that, like from like that sleep state to that like wakeful state.
I mean, the key word there is hallucination too, right?
Right.
But it's no different than people that use drugs, right? And psychedelic drugs to get into, a different state and basically change their whole perspective on life, right?
Yeah.
Probably a little safer.
Yeah, true. It's definitely safer.
Oh, you know what? Before we go,
okay,
there's like something I want to talk about. If this stuff is boring, everybody, I'm sorry. It's kind of just, it's the way I think we're going with this. Like,
yeah.
The
traditional aspect is no longer exciting to us.
I don't want to say that because who doesn't like to go out and do an investigation, right? Everybody likes to do that. You're in an old place, whatever, building.
I
and
love it.
It's really cool. And sometimes, we're still out there. We still get EVPs. We're still doing weird shit, I don't think any of that's going away. We're still going to do that. We're going to have episodes where we go and we investigate a place and we review evidence. I don't think that's going away. I think it's just, we're just really just changing our perspective on it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
Plus it's leading us to some pretty good experiments and
something we can measure and like recreate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's lonely because it's only the two of us. And when you start like really getting into the weeds of the theories and things that we found, I feel like you really lose people because they're just not there.
Oh, I mean, you could lose yourself a little bit too.
Yeah, you could.
I remember you getting into the whole, how our brains work and our minds and all that. And
yeah.
Texting me at work the one day saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's us. It's our brains.
It's like, I think I just ruined this all for myself. I think I'm done.
But again, if you're interested in the paranormal, I mean, you kind of have to live between both worlds, right?
Yeah, you do.
Because there are some things out there that are unexplainable.
Yeah, definitely. There is.
And you just need to wait for, the science to catch up.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's kind of like, like finding the magic again, in the field, which has been really interesting.
Yeah.
And fun.
Well, if it wasn't fun, we wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, true. So that's all we have for you guys. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to add, you could reach out to us at the website, podcastoftheparanormal.com. Reach out through our contact form, through our social media, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yes, and please remember to like, follow, share, give us a few stars if you like the show. Any feedback is welcome, really. And it helps us get out there to new listeners.
Yeah, and you can also on the website find all of the platforms where you can listen to the podcast, whatever your favorite app is.
Stream it from anywhere.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all spending time with us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.